Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Conservative American Perspective. I'm going to be your guest host today. My name is Dr. Shake, and we're going to be talking about the exit polls. That's right, folks, the anatomy of the 2022 midterms, what Pennsylvania showed us. Now, I have to give some credit here to CNN because they did some excellent questions in the exit polling, which gave us an idea, folks, of why it is that certain states, the red states, became redder and the blue states became bluer, and why those states in between, those purple states, why didn't the red wave basically, come into those states as we all expected? We were thinking one thought in terms of questions that we had thought we had the answers to. And we thought, for example, like, was abortion going to be a huge winner for the Democrats? And what we were told by a lot of the pundits were, no, that's not going to be the firestorm. That's not going to be ground zero. But as we're going to see in a lot of these polls, especially in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, also in Wisconsin, and some of these other states, that was at the very heart. We were told that, guess what? You're not going to get a lot of young people to come on vote because they don't do that during the midterms. And guess what? Again, people were wrong. Youngsters, Gen Z, millennials, they came out in record numbers and voted for the Democrats. So I think when we go over these questions here in terms of what happened with Pennsylvania, I think they're going to show us a lot. So let's go ahead, let's take to those, and we'll do those just about now. All right, folks, so here we have the exit polling, but you see almost, let's say, call it 3,000 total respondents between Fetterman and Oz. And before we go any further, folks, just our channel, very, very new. This is this is our fifth or sixth upload, I believe, here. We certainly would appreciate it if you think you got some context out of this and you like what you saw here on the Conservative American Perspective. We'd really appreciate if you go ahead and hit that share button, like, and sign up, subscribe, and notification bell. You know what to do. We certainly hope you like that. But let's get right into this here. So you take a look at age, folks. If you take a look here, Fetterman, he crushed Oz 18 to 29, literally 18 points higher than the 30 to 44 again. Oz, as you got up into the mid 40s and 65, all right, he didn't do too bad there. I mean, but here, 46-53, it's only a 7-point spread. If you can keep it within a 7-point spread here, and basically over here as well, a 7-point spread, but here you're losing by 18, here you're losing by nearly, 42 points. I mean, come on, folks. And as you see here, again, look at this domination. 7% of the people that voted, 18 to 24, 72% went for Fetterman. 5%, 25 to 29, 13% between 30 and 39 days, broke down even further. Even at between 40 and 49, you split. So even here, Oz, he wins by 9 points. Here he's up by 7. But guess what? These are the up-and-comers, and we always know people when they're young, they vote Democrat. Then they find out that they shouldn't have voted that way, but then it's too late when they hit these numbers. Marital status. Okay, Oz wins at 53-47, but not married. Look at this, folks. This is what happened in Pennsylvania. This is what happened in Michigan. This is what happened in those states where abortion was a big, huge key issue. Not married, single women, 23 points Fetterman won. Take a look at the condition of the nation's economy. If you thought it was good, 82% went with Fetterman. Okay. And the rest of them, 17%, these are probably Republicans here. If you thought not so good, you still voted for Fetterman. This is what I don't understand, even if you didn't think it was good. So what was the reasoning by here? Could this have been those people that were one or single or maybe dual issue voters, and abortion was at the top? So even if it wasn't doing so good for themselves, you would think at the kitchen table we talked about, is that what people are really talking about? Killing babies, abortions, is that what we're really talking about? Is that what's happening? I don't know, but it seems that basically that's what's happened over here. We talk about here where It's, if you thought it was poor, 85%, 85% went for Oz, but still 14% still took Fetterman. Even if they thought the condition nation's economy was poor, you still had 14% for Fetterman. Party ID. Party ID. Take a look at this. We expected this. 37%, 40%, almost the same by a 3-point difference. Democrats, 94%. Fetterman, that's what you expected. But look here, Oz, he didn't do as well. He only got 90% of the Republican vote. And independents by 20 points, Fetterman, what were we told? Independents are going to break for Oz. They're going to break for the Republican. They didn't do it here, not in Pennsylvania, folks. That made up a quarter of the respondents here. Ideology, let's take a look. If you were liberal, 25%. Yeah, I can see that. 92% went with Fetterman. I'm surprised that was high as 6%. You would think that would be lower. If you were moderate, so guess what? Moderate Democrat, moderate, Republican, he still won 64%, a 30-point swing among moderates. Conservatives. Okay, if you were conservative, 9% still get a vote for Fetterman. I think some of these conservatives are probably in this camp over here, but 91%. So when you take a look at here, 92 to 6, 91 to 9, more people, you had a bigger break in terms of, with people going to Fetterman, say on the liberal side, than did on the conservative side. Race, Oz won white, 82% of respondents were white, 53% went for there. But again, this is what happens, 91 to 8. And look at the Latino vote. What was the difference in Florida that we talked about? You can check out our other video there in terms of the anatomy of the Florida videos. This was, it was 60-40. Cuban vote was 70-30 for, DeSantis. And here it's just the opposite. 40 points almost here. 40 points Latino. Fetterman. Gender. Male. Oz wins the male vote by 10. And here, crushed it. 16 points female. 16 points. Take a look now where you lived. If you live within the city. I mean, this is just crushing it, folks. 37 points. Urban. Here in the suburban area. You were only able to best Fetterman by 6. Now out in the rural area, yes, but guess what? Look at this, 35%. I know Trump came out here and did it for us, but you know what? Trump wasn't on the ticket. Yes, he came out. He did rallies. He did everything as much as he could. But for some reason or the other, you still had 35% of the rural vote. Now, there are Democrats that live out in the rural areas. There's no doubt about it. But I'm wondering how many of these were Republicans out here in the rural areas, and how many Republicans in the rural area didn't come out to vote. That would be something to find out. Nation's economy, if you thought it was excellent, 83% went for Fetterman, so it's 17% that went for Oz. If you didn't think it was not good or poor, even if you didn't think it was not good or poor, he still got 40%. You can say, yeah, I won 18 points here. But even not good and poor, you got 40%. Now let's take a look at abortion. Legal in all cases. If you thought it was legal in all cases, again, Fetterman crushed it. You would expect that. But I'm surprised that if people thought legal in all cases, this number, they still gave it to Oz. I know Oz, came out and said, leave it, Roe v. Wade, it's up to the states, let the states decide and whatever. So maybe these were some voters who felt that, okay, that's a pressing issue for me, but not that pressing. Oz isn't saying, absolutely no limitations, absolutely, there shouldn't be any types of rules or policy that allows, for a certain date or time, or in case of rape or incest, those kind of things. So I can see where this comes in here. Legal in most cases, 64%, nearly doubles it up over here. If you were illegal in most cases, of course, Oz got this, 88 to 10. So again, this shows where that abortion question really, really hurt, Republicans, and, in this thing where people were voting primarily not really for the candidate, but just knowing that the Democrat candidate was absolutely for abortion up until the time of birth and even after. And so here, abortion should be legal. If you thought it was legal, 62% of the respondents, okay, 6 out of 10 thought that abortion should be legal. Fetterman won 75% of those. If you thought it was illegal, Oz won it. Marital status. Here's what we talked about again. Look at this here, folks. Between married men, Oz wins it. Not that big of a difference here. 4 points, but Fetterman wins the married women. Unmarried men, Fetterman wins there. And look at this. 31 points, unmarried women. 31 points, folks. Almost 20% of the electorate, or 20% of those respondents. So think of that, 21%. As this goes through unmarried women, you're winning it at a 31-point clip. Yes, folks, the abortion issue mattered. It really, really did. We talked about gender by race already. Look at this here. Not enough data with this, but if you take a look, in terms of, breaking it down, I know the other we showed it was almost 68 to 30 or whatever in Fetterman, with the Latino vote. But here again, white women, white men, the breakdown. He wins it with white men. White women, though, Fetterman by 3 points. Age, we talked about. Education, if you're a college graduate, Fetterman. College graduate, folks. College graduate, he gets 60%. No college degree. Look at this, folks. No college degree, high school only. It's virtually, 6-point difference. If you can win by 19 and keep this thing close, that's pretty darn good. Again, take a look at this. White voters, college degree, Fetterman. No degree, okay, 60-40. Voters of color, college degree, wins that by 50, almost 50 points, Fetterman. And over here, he wins it by nearly 60 points. Voters of color, no degree. He's crushing it in there, Fetterman. And this is basically what, a 1.5 point difference, but this matters here. This really matters. Importance of party control to the Senate, if it was really important. If it was really important, guess what? This is virtually a tie. It was somewhat important, a tie. So importance of party, Pennsylvania voters saying they didn't really care who got control of the Senate. At least in the answers, they're not showing that. But what they are showing is what was the individual questions that they were talking about were abortion, single women, single or a primary issue or a dual issue, really hit the spot for the Democrats and liberals here. Again, here it is, party control importance. 91% said if you thought it was important, you still, that's at 1 point difference right there. Race, we talked about already, voters of color, over 50 points. Here's one, folks. View of Donald Trump. If you were favorable, you voted for Oz. 5% voted for Fetterman. Here, though, if you're unfit, even if you thought that you didn't like Donald Trump, 16% still voted for Oz, which shows you what? The Trump effect was still there. Look at this. That's what I'm saying. Favorable. You thought Donald Trump was favorable? You got your 94%. You got your percentage. But unfavorable, you would expect that this would be a lot lower. That, Fetterman should have been in this number here, but it didn't. So the Trump effect was still there. Party by gender. 92% Democrat, 95% is what you expect. But here, look, Republican men. He's right at 90%. He's not getting that 95, 96, 97. He got that. He probably should have won. But he didn't. He's underperforming among Republican men and Republican women. He didn't win them over. 5, 6, 7 points here, 5, 6, 7 points here. That was 95, 96. You don't think that would have tipped the scale a little bit more in Oz's favor? Of course it would have been. We talk about white women, college degree. Voters of color. White men, no degree. He wins that. White men, college degree. It's basically even. White women, no degree. He wins that by 11 points. But white women with a college degree, Fetterman's crushing him. crushing him in voters of color. We talked about the education, first time midterm, right? First time midterm voters, a lot of these millennials. I mean, almost 30 points here, folks. Almost 30 points, Fetterman. 12% of that respondents for first time. He's winning them. And if it was no, it's virtual tie. Here's one, Biden and Trump. What did you think here? 48% voted for Biden, 45% voted for Trump. 93% of those went for Fetterman. You were for Trump. There was some peel off here. I don't know if these were Democrats that decided to go back to Fetterman this time or some Republicans in here that decided to go back. That would be interesting. Opinion of Biden as a president, if you approved, 46, about half of them approved. So half the respondents in Pennsylvania approved of Biden. And if you approved of Biden, you went with a Democrat. If you disapproved of Biden, even if you disapproved with Biden, Oz couldn't get you over. I mean, 82 to 16, yeah, but look at this. You disapproved of Biden's opinion. So this could have been, some Democrats. If your inflation has caused your family severe hardship, if it caused you severe hardship, you did go with Oz. Moderate hardship, it was a virtual tie. And if you had no hardship at all, you stayed with Fetterman. Oh, here's one. This is the one. Most important issue to your vote was crime. Pennsylvania, it wasn't. Literally a tie. But look at the abortion issue. 37%. Almost 4 out of 10 said abortion was the most important issue. Fetterman cleaned out Oz's clock in this. I mean, 57 points right there, folks. 57 points. Inflation. Inflation, yeah, he won on the inflation. But this is where he won the vote right here, folks. This is where he won the vote. So, was your vote to support Biden? If it was, 98%, you vote for Fetterman. To oppose Biden, 96%. If Biden wasn't a factor, he won it by over 34 points. No factor, Fetterman won. That could have been the independents right there. So here's one. If you wanted to support Trump, you voted for Oz. If you wanted to oppose Trump, you voted for Fetterman. But even if you opposed Trump, there's still 8% that went for Oz. So again, Trump had his supporters, even though there were detractors too, but he had his supporters within that group, feeling about Roe v. Wade being overturned. If you were enthusiastic about Roe v. Wade, you gave 96% of your vote. Don't understand how this 4% came up here. If you're enthusiastic, why would you give it to Fetterman? That's still too high for me, but 96 is there. If you were satisfied with it, you 15%, you still went for Fetterman if you were satisfied with it being overturned. If you were dissatisfied with it, you certainly went for Fetterman. And if you were angry about it, look at this, folks, 91%. And that's 40% of the electorate. 40%. So, you know what? It just goes on. There's other things inside here. Which candidate quality mattered most? Here's one. Are Fetterman's views too extreme? If you thought they were yes, you went with Oz. If you were no, you went with Fetterman. So again, are Oz's views extreme? If 50-50 basically. If you thought they were yes, you went with Fetterman. No, you went with Oz. So anyways, a lot of information there, folks. A lot of dissecting to do. I know I went through that fairly quickly, but you sort of get the gist of what we were trying to basically say. That's really why Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania. Plus, you know what? Their mail-in ballots, their absentee ballots, everything that they have churning out, getting out their votes, curing their ballots, doing everything that they possibly can to get that initial wave that comes up there. And then the Republicans, what we're doing is we're trying to play catch up on the day of. And we have got to fight. We've got to basically, in terms of go out there and let us, in terms of, go with the mail-in votes. Go, we've got to be able to, ballot harvest if that's legal. I believe it is in Pennsylvania to ballot harvest. I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to check that myself. But we've got to be able to go out there and do the things that we need to do to win these battles with the Democrats when it comes to, these new voting laws that are basically in place. And right now, the Democrats have a home court advantage in these laws in terms of, like I said, ballot harvesting, in terms of absentee ballots, in terms of mail-in ballots. And the days of just, Republicans coming on the day of election and hoping to counteract that, I think those are long gone. We've got to be able to figure out a way, like they're doing in California. They are doing the same thing, folks. They are, uh, basically, with the Democrats, they are doing exactly what they're doing, all right? Democrats are ballot harvesting, Republicans are going out there to ballot harvest as well. Anyways, we certainly hope you enjoy this video, got some great content out of it. I am your host, Dr. Sheikh, the guest host here for the Conservative American Perspective. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. We certainly appreciate it. As you said, we're just starting out about 2 weeks out into our channel here on YouTube, and we hope to be here for quite some time. And with your help, we hopefully will do that. And I'll leave you with my final thoughts, and that is, when you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.